everyone, I'm Bardot, founder and creative director of HouseofNyabinghi, and welcome to Rap and Chat, your moment in the month where the creative culture meet for conversation, preferably with a glass of Caribbean spiced rum and a dash of Pimm's and a healthy side of fried plantain. So let's get into it, and don't forget to click, subscribe and leave your comments below. Welcome everyone to this month's Rap and Chat, Culture in Conversation. Hope you've all been doing well since we last met and sat together. This month, our guest is Siyona Parekh, and she is joining us from Ada Lovelace School. And you're probably thinking, why have I got a student from a school? But we are really looking forward to learning a bit more about Siyona and everything to do with her world. Siyona, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Bea. Can't wait to have a nice chat with you. So,
Siyona, to start, we always do a quick fire round with our guests. It'll be about a minute long, if that. You might get through the questions quicker. So I hope you're ready. On your marks, get set, go. What's your favourite genre of music?
Probably like 2010 pop, I guess.
2010 pop. Okay, why pop?
Yeah. Because I guess you've got different sides to pop, and it's very kind of upbeat and quite joyful.
Okay, favourite album?
Probably Adele, maybe one of Adele's, so like 21 or 30.
Okay, why Adele?
I think she's really like a very moving kind of singer, and she's very good with her words and her songs.
Okay, you find her very emotive?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favourite day of the week?
Definitely Saturday.
Favourite perfume? Do you have one?
Yes, I use this perfume, Ted Baker. It's a poly perfume.
Okay.
Yeah.
And going back to Adele, Beyonce or Rihanna?
Rihanna.
Oh, controversial. Oh, you did that perfectly in just under 1 minute. So give yourself a round of applause there. Thank you very much. Let's not tell any Beyonce or Rihanna fans, because obviously they'll kill me, but there you go. So starting with you. So what I want to let the audience know, and they're probably wondering why we're speaking to a school student. So for all our listeners, in the UK at this current moment in time, it is National Careers Week. So I wanted to focus on a student who's moving into the creative industry, and as opposed to the previous guests that we've had, where they've already been immersed for a number of years or decades in the creative industry. I thought it would be quite interesting to get somebody at the start, because I'm sure we can all remember what it was like, that first job, or, we were doing work experience, just about to leave school, about to start college or our degree, etc., and just what the world looked like to us at that moment in time. Secondly, yesterday it was International Women's Day. I do appreciate that we have got a series of events running throughout the world for the rest of the month. However, I thought it would be really nice, again, to hear from a young person just about their viewpoint as a female in this world, given that obviously the last time we had our podcast episode, we didn't have a world war that had started. So we're just in a climate where things are a bit top to heavy, very turbulent. And it's just about, I guess, just reflecting about the future and what does the future hold. And for young Siyona here, what does she want to achieve with, the years to come, just how technology is advancing. So I guess it's a great time to get into it. So Siyona, first question I would like to ask you, even as young as you are, because you're what, year 10 at school, so I think you're 15 at the moment?
Yeah.
What's your favourite childhood memory, if you have one? And I know you've still got many to come, but what's yours at this present moment in time?
Yeah, I'd have to say maybe when I think I was in year 6, going to year 7, and it was summer holidays.
And what age group is year 6, year 7 for our audience?
That, like ages from like around 11 years old.
Okay.
And so we went to Canada, and more specifically Toronto. And we went to Wonderland, which is this huge theme park. And yeah, so there was this huge ride called Leviathan, and I was way too scared to go on this. It's like I was scared of rides. And then my aunt kind of just kept me in the queue, and she was like, Siyona, you're going to do this. You got this. And I went on it for the first time, nearly threw up. I cried a bit, not going to lie. But then I went on it a second time, and I couldn't get enough of it, and I kept going on it. So yeah, I guess that's one of my favourite childhood memories, because it's got me into roller coasters and theme parks.
And just got you out and about and just living life really on the edge. Okay, so off the back of that, I know you mentioned your auntie there. Who are 3 most influential people in your life at this moment in time that you feel have impacted you to help you achieve, I guess, get a hold of yourself or get a better understanding of yourself and want you to actually get out there and explore the world? So who are those people?
So I guess my parents, obviously, because they kind of support me. I can have that support to kind of do what I enjoy and do what I want to do. And then I guess maybe my grandma as well, because she's kind of the one who got me into thinking about making clothes and that creative industry. Because when I was younger, she would make like a skirt for me from her sewing machine, gloves, and that kind of got me interested in it.
Grandmas always find are very popular with our guests. They seem to be that bedrock, don't they, amongst the family to really give us that guidance. So okay. And who's your third?
Probably my friend. She kind of just helped me like make sure that I'm not being influenced by other people to choose different things that I don't want to do. And making sure like to help me know what I want to do, and I guess just help me succeed in it, the same as I do with her.
Okay, and what's your friend's name? Let's give her a shout out.
Danya.
Danya, okay. Well, thank you, Danya. And I think it's really helpful that we do have those friends or advisors, sisters, whatever you want to call them, sisters from another mother, who are there. It's almost to keep you on the straight and narrow, isn't it? That whilst they don't tell you what to do, it's more just helping you to make sure you go through the stepping stones of what it is you want to achieve in your own life. And the fact that you found that person at such an early age is quite pinnacle. So definitely keep that person in your life, because if you've noticed already that they're there helping you at the really good times as well as the bad times, definitely somebody to keep in your life. Yeah. Okay. So moving on, this one might make you laugh. What's an insult you've received that you're really proud of or made you laugh because it was so incorrect about your character?
About my character. I have one about like, I guess it could fit into my character. So I'm vegetarian.
Okay.
And I get a lot of, oh, what do you eat? Do you eat grass? Do you eat leaves? And it makes me laugh a lot because people don't understand, like, there's much more to a vegetarian. Like, you've got plant-based foods, you've got alternatives to meat, but they kind of just go with, oh, I can never live without meat. But look at me, I'm living without meat. I guess that's something that just makes me laugh sometimes.
And it's funny you should say that, because end of January, I started doing a detox wellness. And so I had to go vegan. And I found it a really quite an emotional journey, if I'm honest. I hate using that word journey, but there we are. It was quite emotional. But funnily enough, I didn't actually miss meat or fish. So young Siyona and I met for the first time, it was last month, wasn't it? And we went out and about. We've actually been speaking and liaising for a few months, but we actually met for the first time last month. And what was really exciting about meeting Siyona is she's very hungry and passionate, and she actually reminded me of myself at that same age. Not that I'm a dinosaur. What I'm saying is, I remember how I felt at that time about wanting to move into the creative/fashion industry. So I'm going to ask you your last question just about you and your routine, and then we're going to delve deeper into the creative industry and what it is you want to explore about it and why, as it's National Careers Week. So this is where you can speak fluidly. So first of all, what does your morning routine look like?
Well, so obviously I go to school, right? So from Monday to Friday, just do the usual getting up at 7:30, leaving the house at 8.
But when you get up at 7:30, what is that first thing that you do when you wake up? Do you wake up naturally? Is it your alarm? Do you lie in bed for a few minutes, listen to the birds? What's that thing that you do that makes you feel, yeah, I just want to handle today and jump out of bed?
Well, if I'm being honest, I wake up at 7 and I get out of bed at 7:30.
Snooze
So I
button,
say,
snooze button, snooze button. Okay.
yeah. But I guess when I kind of open my curtains, that's kind of making me want to get out of bed because it's not dark in my room anymore, and I've just got that light to just make me want to go outside. Yeah, and I usually just have to wash my face to wake myself up.
So what type of books do you like to read? And do you have a favourite book at the moment that you're reading, or have you just finished?
So I'm really into mystery, adventure, that kind of theme, I guess. I've just finished reading The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I loved it. It was really interesting. And then I'm starting to read Legend by Mary Lou. But my favorite book, that's a really hard one. I'm not going to lie. I think maybe one of my favorites would be Noughts and Crosses.
Yes, and that was adapted into a TV show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Around the world, yes, very popular and
Yeah.
multi-award winning. Yeah,
Yeah, by Mallory Blackman.
exactly.
Yeah, I really like that book. Yes, there's loads of books out there that I think once you find what you like with books, that's when you get into it. Because I have a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't like reading books. I'm not really into them." But I think that's just because they haven't found their style in reading books.
Yeah, and also I find with books as well, it really helps, especially as a creative, it really helps your mind open other worlds, I think is the best word to use, or other doors into other worlds, because the mind is so expansive. What you can create in your mind, you can give 10 people the same book and they will all have 10 different worlds that they've created in their head about what the person looks like, what their street looks like, the type of job that they're doing. And these might be descriptors that might not have even appeared in the book, but we've built that world in our minds. Was it always your intention to work, or not to work, sorry, should I say, but to study and move into the creative sector? What was it about it that, as a 15-year-old, now that you're planning what you want to do at college and at university, what was it about that creative sector that thought, that's the industry I want to go in, as opposed to something else?
So actually, I didn't it wasn't until recently, actually, since year 9, I guess, that I realized I wanted to go into the creative industry. So before I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to go into being a pilot, astronaut, very STEM-based sectors.
Okay. Just to interrupt you there, sorry, our previous guest last month, Matthew Gordon, aka Pie Eye Collective, he's a musician. He's also wanted to be an astronaut. So that's very interesting. Wants to be astronaut or scientist, but he ended up being a musician. So a very interesting link there. Yeah. Carry on. Sorry.
So I think I went through all these different phases because I'd either watched a TV show and thought, oh, that looks really cool. I watched a show about lawyers and I thought, oh, I want to do that. And it kind of influenced me into choosing what I wanted to be. But then I kind of realized, let me think, what do I want to do without all of these influences around me? And that's when I kind of thought about the creative industry, because it hadn't really been something brought upon me. It was mainly kind of like doctors, lawyers, very STEM based again. And I hadn't really thought about the fashion or creative industry. But then I guess what really struck out to me was how expressive you can be with fashion. And how creative you can be in showing your emotions and opinions through the creative industry and through fashion. And that's what really got me into it. Yeah, because there's so many things you can do with it. There's so many job sectors. There's so many kind of different ideas you can put together to create one amazing kind of piece. That's what really drew me in.
Okay. And speaking of the STEM industries, for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure you do, we're talking about obviously science, technology, engineering, and maths. There is a big push within STEM that links with fashion and obviously arts, graphics, etc. So if you're not aware, which I know you are because you've been doing your research, and obviously we've been outside of this interview, we've been having our meetings as well. There is a real push to bring those students who really have a strong leaning towards the STEM side, but also want to explore their creative side, because obviously there's so many strong links, whether that be with fabric technology, whether it be with graphics and visual design, whether, for like motion film or television, or, live entertainment like concerts now. But as well as that, like I said, obviously with technology for smart devices that you wear on your person, so accessories, but also, as I think I said before, nano technology within fabrics, if you're doing sports, for example, as well as nanotechnology if you are, for example, as you already mentioned earlier, pilot or astronaut. As technology advances and as we push the body to do more things, we need those people who've also got that skill set within that STEM field. So is that something that you thought about exploring in terms of a study pathway where you've got the two disciplines, both the fashion as well as STEM subject matter?
So I don't really think about merging them as much. I thought that I could do one and then the other. So I was thinking about having that mechanic engineering side, because that was what I was really into, and then having that kind of fashion creative side.
So what I'd like to ask you, from your personal experience, and you can use school or something else, doesn't matter. What would you say is your biggest challenge in terms of being successful in this industry? If you can think of one.
Yeah, so challenges to stop me from getting into the industry, probably people thinking that, because probably people not understanding about this creative industry and thinking it's not as important as others.
Okay.
And what are you like? How are you going to get a job out of this, and how are you going to get experience out of this? Because they don't really understand what it's about, because they probably just think either, oh, it's clothes, or oh, it's modeling, but actually there's a lot more to it. So I think misunderstanding that is quite difficult, because then you've got to try and find those people who know, like, for example, how I found you to help me. You've got to try and find those people to help you push yourself into getting into this industry.
And what I will say to you is this: you've probably just mentioned the number one challenge that most people have when it comes to maybe family or friends. And it's, well, how are you going to make a job out of this? Because they see there's so many who still see the arts or the creative industry as not a proper job unless you're making millions. They don't understand. They're like, well, what are you doing? You're just sitting around and drawing cartoons. What do you mean you're an artist or you're a fashion designer? What does that mean? What does that entail? And it's a lot more than what they realize. If you could start a business tomorrow, what would your business be and why?
If I could start a business, probably probably making like probably definitely in the fashion industry. Maybe in designing clothes and jewelry, because I feel with jewelry, I mean, I love jewelry personally. I think it's something that, I think it's something that just like fulfills your outfit, just emphasizes it all. I think fashion, making clothes as well, because it really shows kind of who you are, and it can say a lot about you.
So what I want to ask you, obviously now we're out of lockdown to do with COVID, but what I'd like to ask you is, again, as a young person, how did you protect your emotional or mental well-being during that time? Was there any particular creative things that you did during that time being at home? Did you find you're doing more drawing or more designing, more painting? How did you get through those days? Because obviously I appreciate schooling went completely out the window and very topsy-turvy. So it may have felt a bit Groundhog Day in terms of just being at home all the time for the best part of like 18 months. So how did you manage?
Well, to be totally honest, I kind of like at the start, I didn't really kind of take care of myself in a way that I kind of just ignored it, pushed it away. I didn't really focus on it as much. I was kind of like all over the place. I was just rushing, doing things without thinking. But then I kind of just stepped away from that and stopped worrying about what others expected from me, and what I expected. My standards for myself were too high.
Okay.
And obviously I didn't stop like studying or doing the work in that sense for my school, but I kind of switched my perspective, I guess, from it being the end of the world if I fail something to it being I can improve on it. Okay. And then in terms of my creative self, I still continue doing like art, so like painting, sketching, drawing in my free time, because it just took my mind off things. I just quite free. You can be really free with it. And then, and I also, for like my personal self, I did quite a bit of exercise. And I realized that like kind of taking care of your body is also taking care of your mental well-being as well, I feel like. Because it kind of has a good impact on your mood, and it just kind of refreshes yourself and your body.
Thinking about everything you've just said to me over the course of this interview, what do you think? And obviously I appreciate there is a war happening at the moment. What do you think this world will look like in 30 years' time, which at that time, God willing, you'll be 45. What do you think the world will look like? And what do you think the creative industry, given the advancement of technology, what do you think that might be like in 30 years?
So the world in 30 years, well, so many things could happen, especially seeing as this war as well that's starting. I think you've either got this part where people will be too absorbed and into this like fantasy and social media, so like out of reality. They're kind of too absorbed into their phone and what's not real. Or you've got a change in that, and actually people are less on their kind of and they just kind of decided to take a break from that. The creative industry, I think it would definitely just improved and kept on growing, because it's such a big part of people's lives now. And it's just a big part of everything, like you said, movies, TV shows, everyone watches it, everyone wants that in their lives. So obviously you've got the people behind the scenes in creating this, and then clothes in general, or just the creative industry in general. It really just has a huge impact on people's lives and does so much for everyone.
If you could be remembered for one thing what would it be and why?
So I think being known by everyone that I was like the best fashion designer, and I designed the best kind of dress with that everyone's going to remember, and it's going to be something that everyone knows about. Yeah, I think that's something that I'd really like.
Well, Siyona, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us in our podcast this month in Rap and Chat Culture and Conversation. I think to just have you as a young person here, just to hear your viewpoints, you know, it doesn't matter the age of a person, everybody's viewpoint is valid. And I think sometimes we spend a lot of time on interviews or talk shows, panel hosts, magazine interviews, interviewing people, rightly so, who've established great, excellent careers. But sometimes we forget about the person that's coming up, who's inspired by those who have come before, and just get their understanding on what the world looks like for them and how it feels for them and how we can support you more. So I'm sure all the listeners will probably be really proud that you've given your time for us today. And we are going to interview again, probably in a year's time or so. We're going to check back and see how you're doing, probably film you to get a little update. But I just want to say from me and House of Nyabinghi, thank you so much. And anything else you'd like to say before we close?
Just thank you so much for having me here. It was really great speaking to you. Yeah, I hope I did great on here. Yeah.
No, thank you so much. And I'm sure your parents and your family, especially your grandmother and your teachers and whoever your mentors are at Ada Lovelace School will be incredibly proud of you also. So thank you very much, Siyona. And this has been your Rap and Chat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.